Hello everyone, this is Tetsuya. Thank you so much for watching my video again today. Today I would like to introduce the 10 things I was surprised at when I went to the United States for the first time in 2002. So let me get started. The first thing I was very much surprised when I went to the United States for the first time was the English proficiency of small American child. Actually, before I went to the United States for the first time, I have been studying English for a few years already. And I was pretty much confident about my English skill, basically, to some extent. But when I spoke with an American child I met in a laundry shop, just accidentally, that small boy, he was pretty much an adult boy, spoke in a perfect English accent and also perfect English vocabulary, very natural English vocabulary. I could even understand it. So at that time, I was pretty much surprised and also at the same time, very much disappointed with my own English skill. The second thing I was surprised at was again about English proficiency. So when I went to the United States for the first time, I spoke with a lot of people. A lot of people means people at the shops or hotels, but every time I spoke with them and tried to speak a bit longer with them, I was always very much, again, disappointed with my own English skill because American people spoke really, really fast, astonishingly, surprisingly fast. That's why it was quite difficult for me to catch up with the speed they are speaking. If you are a Japanese learner, I'm pretty sure that when you spoke with Japanese people for the first time, or maybe when you came to Japan for the first time, after you had studied Japanese for a few years, or maybe 1 year or something, or any time, any period of time, you have been also very much surprised at how fast Japanese people spoke Japanese. So the third thing I was surprised at in the United States is the hamburger. What I was surprised at hamburger was the size of the hamburger. In Japan, before I went to the United States, I only bought hamburgers from McDonald in Japan. And in McDonald in Japan, they only serve something really small, something like this. It's quite a handy size. I think it's pretty much the Japanese portion. So what I was surprised about the size of the hamburger I ordered at Denny's in Las Vegas. Actually, the height of the hamburger was pretty much surprised because it was pretty tall like this. And also there was a stick inside it to keep the balance of it. So you can just separate or maybe make two hamburgers instead rather than making one tall hamburger like this. So the fourth thing I was surprised at in the United States was again about Denny's, something happened in Denny's. So in the United States, you have the culture of tip. So you give additional money to the serving staff. But at Denny's, I didn't have to pass tip directly to the staff there. I actually suggested to pay tips to the staff at Denny's, but they refused to receive it. That's why I was pretty much surprised because before that, I kept paying tips directly to the staff at any shop or hotels or somewhere. But at that time, only at Denny's, I didn't have to pay that. Then after I had received a receipt after the payment, I found tip within the receipt. It was pretty much surprised actually. So the fifth thing I was surprised at in the United States is how the drink is served at McDonald's. So I first went to McDonald's in Los Angeles. So in my first trip to the United States, I first went to Los Angeles, then went to Arizona, then went to Las Vegas. So I visited all those three places in my first visit to the United States. So when I went to McDonald's in Los Angeles, when I ordered a set menu, the drink was filled in a cup. But when I went to McDonald's in Las Vegas, as far as I remember, the staff just gave me an empty cup. I actually thought the staff was joking. Why is this empty? You are not going to give me anything to drink. I ordered a drink and the cup is here, but it is empty. Why is it empty? I asked the staff, can you feel something in here? Then the staff suddenly pointed behind me without saying anything. Then I turned back and found a drink corner. So over there, the customers were supposed to fill the cup with the drink he or she wants by themselves. So the system of the McDonald's for the drink were very different from Los Angeles or Japanese McDonald's. So the sixth thing I was surprised at in the United States was when I went to Los Angeles for the first time, I got lost in a way. That's why I spoke to a person who was on the sidewalk waiting for the traffic lights to turn green. Then I spoke to one lady. Then I spoke to the lady in English. But the lady didn't know where I wanted to go. That's why that lady spoke to another man who was walking around there. But she didn't speak in English. She spoke in Spanish. She said, Senor, and again continued to speak in Spanish. That's why I was pretty much surprised why this lady spoke in Spanish. Because here is the United States, the language people speak is English. I didn't know at the time the background, but because California is facing Mexico, a Spanish-speaking country. No wonder there are some number of people who speak Spanish. So the seventh things is quite same. So in Los Angeles, when I took subway, I always saw two languages in instructions. The one language is, of course, English, and another language was Spanish. And at the same time, during the announcement of the subway, I always heard two languages in announcement. That was also very surprising to me and quite new to me. And as you know, in Japan, basically our language concept is one country, one language. Most of the people, I'm pretty sure 99.9% of Japanese people speak Japanese as mother tongue. That's why at that time, in my mind, why two languages in one country? That was pretty much surprising. So the eighth thing I was surprised in the United States is again about subway. So this was quite surprising actually. While I was taking the subway in the United States, it was in Los Angeles. I sometimes heard the subway staffs began to sing before we arrive at the next station. I really wondered what this staff was doing. Start to sing in a microphone for the announcement of the subway. If that kind of thing would happen in Japan, the train staff would be fired. Of course, in the United States, maybe it is not that special or strange. I'm not very sure though. So the ninth thing I was surprised at in the United States was the driving etiquette of American people. So what I want to say is whenever I got close to the zebra crossing where there is no traffic lights, the cars always stop before the zebra crossing really slowly. When I saw it, I was very much impressed with the driving etiquette of American people, or at least the people in Los Angeles. In Japan, normally if there's a zebra crossing without traffic lights, the driver could actually pass the zebra crossing even though the pedestrians are waiting for it. So the 10th thing I was surprised at in the United States is the gun shop. I saw a gun shop, or I think I saw a few gun shops in the United States while I was traveling there. That was something very surprising to me. Of course, I know it's legal in the United States if you have a license. So that's all for the 10 things I was surprised at in the United States when I went there for the first time. So thank you so much for watching my video up until here today.